Right here we have a 2004 Polaris Sportsman 400, I believe it is. We'll check it out in a minute. This is either going to be a easy, quick fix, or it's going to be an expensive one. Not sure yet. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, this is not an 04. It's probably an 05 or 6 or somewhere in there. All right, now I got to look. Okay, 12 of 05, so it is 06. My mistake. Now, the owner of this thing, the family, owns some of the land I actually ride on around here, and they were up riding around. By the looks of it, and they already told me, they were doing a little mud riding, as you can tell. Yeah, anyways, they were riding around. Obviously, I don't know if we got it stuck, maybe what happened, but it just stopped moving. It starts, it runs, it's making some bad noises, so I'm thinking either a belt, a clutch issue. Hopefully it's not into the transaxle, the gearbox in the back, because this has got a all-in-one rear end transmission together. You can see the CV boots, looks like it's leaking a little bit, but that's not going to cause it to not drive. If both of them were broke, then maybe, but let's fire this thing up, choke it. Uh-oh. Come on, girl. We're in neutral. Almost. Yeah, okay, yeah. Something's either the clutch. It sounds like it's either the clutch, a belt. Something's making some horrible noises over there. I don't want to run it anymore because we might do some more damage. So I'm going to tow this thing in. Doesn't drive anyways. And we'll see what's going on. Well, I might have waited a little too long to put the bike away. This right here was a customer's 2008 Yamaha Royal Star Venture that got abandoned here. What we did, I ended up trading the labor and the parts for both of them, that $1,300 for the bike. I brought his four-wheeler back to him. That was his daughter's machine. It was a Kawasaki Lakota. Anyways, that got done. So I brought him that, went and grabbed the title for this thing. So this thing's mine now. But, you know, probably going to sell it, try to get my money out of it if I can. I mean, it should be worth more than that. And whatever extra comes out of it is going back to the owner of this thing because it's just right. I just want the bill paid and that's it. But I don't think it's going to sell this time of year. So anyways, let's get it in storage. Assuming it'll start. It was running. Put a new battery in here. Oh. That's the problem with an open key like that. It was raining the other day and then it froze up and now that's froze up. Now, let's check the throttle. Throttle's free. I think if I can get that, it should start. Choke's freed up. Now, I wish I had a portable heat gun, but I don't, so we're going to take the torch. Hopefully we don't have any fuel leaks. Just heat the key up. I don't want to burn anything else. Hopefully that's going to send some heat down into that key switch. And obviously I don't want to touch that with my bare hands. As you can see, burnt my shirt right to it. Oh, we got it out. That's a plus. Can't turn it still. All right, so I put a little grease on the key, and now I'm going to heat the end of the key up. Let the excess grease burn off a little bit, and then we'll shove this in here. Oh, really? That's already froze. All right, get that down in there. It'll go into the lock position, but it can't go on or accessory. Oh, there we go. Good. Just gonna work it back and forth for a minute so it doesn't freeze up on me. Okay. Go ahead and choke it. Hopefully she starts. Come on, girl. Heard a pop. So close. She's not jetted for this type of weather, but she's gonna run. You can do it. You can do it. Good girl. Let that warm up for a minute. That V4 sure does sound good. Clutch isn't froze. See how she goes. She got a bad rear tire. There we go. It's not gonna live here, but now I can put it out back. It does sound good. Guess I probably should have took that off, but I think I'll take that key rate out. The owner, or the previous owner, actually bought a brand new 3-tone, 2-tone, 3-tone, something like that. Brand new Corbin seat for this thing. He said it was like 800 bucks. He threw that in the deal as well. He said, you know, it's gonna sell better with the new seat on it anyway, so I haven't put that on yet. As you can tell, this one has got a couple of cracks in it, but other than that, she's good to go. But I guess now I'll just have to wait till springtime so I can actually get some money for this thing. Let's go ahead and fire the old Kubota up. Glow plugs. Oop. Must be she's not in neutral. There she goes. Right. As well, wipe some of the snow off first, that way we're not melting it all over the floor. Alrighty. There. Let that warm up. And we'll get to work on it. Now that the snow's all melted off and dried up, we can go ahead and start peeling this off. This thing's pretty filthy. But, yeah. We'll pull this floorboard off and then work our way in. Well, like I said, for their sake, I hope it's just a drive belt. But we'll find out when we get in there. I'm just going to pop these pins out. Three and four. Now if we dig in here, we can find our bolts. I think these are T27s. Let's see. T27. 7/16 on the bottom. Find the bolt, find the bolt. There's the back. There's the front. Now, here's where I should loosen these clamps up, but as you can see, they're already loose, so that's not great. And we'll just come in here and pull off all the screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more down here. That'll make 8 up front. And then we can just pop this off. Normally we would, okay, that's what I was thinking. Normally we would loosen those clamps, but somebody forgot to tighten them. So the belt is super shredded. I mean, check that out. Wow. Wow. Hopefully it didn't do any damage to the clutch. We'll find out. Is that? So it should be a simple, quick fix. Luckily, it was just the belt that snapped. It did not sound good. So obviously, you know, you never know. I've seen a lot of the transaxles go bad. Not so much on the four-wheelers, but on the Rangers, and they get the same setup. You're just dealing with a lot more weight on the Rangers. Anyways, so yeah, we got a belt. Pretty common, especially if these things are being abused and, you know, rolling them in the mud. That's what they're made for, but it's hard on stuff, especially that thick mud. It's really hard on stuff. So now a problem with this is somebody might just slap a belt on right now. You think you got everything out, you just never know. And you get chunks of old belt stuck in there that you didn't see, or cords, because these things have, you know, cords in the belts right here, and some of that gets wound in there in the bearings and stuff. Your new belt's not going to last too long. So even if it looks clean, I like to pull the clutch off. We don't have to tear it all apart. Sometimes you want to, but I just like to pop it off. It only takes me a couple of minutes to get both of these off, unless the secondary's stuck. The secondary doesn't require a puller. I have a puller for it, but if it's stuck to the point where you need the puller, usually those things come off mean. but it should just pull off without a puller. The primary clutch, you need a puller for that. You never know. It should pop off. Start with the secondary. Just that one bolt and the washer holding it. Like I said, you should be able to just give it a nice jolt. That one came off super easy. Perfect. And then the primary. This one, you got a lot of stuff. You got to make sure that plastic spacer comes out so you can put your puller in here. Now every time I use these pullers, I like to put a little grease on the threads and then on the end where it's going to be pushing on the crank. Start this by hand. Make sure it's threaded in enough. And we'll slowly bring our puller in. Now we got a reef on it. Should pop off very easily, just like that. But some are rusted on there pretty bad. So the reason I like to pull this, you can see a lot of wear from that belt where it's kind of been chewing up rubber. We'll clean that up. A couple of dings here and there. This is a 400, not a super high performance machine, so it'll be fine. Got some grooving a little bit, but nothing horrible, like I said. Now this model does not have EBS, engine braking system, so there's no one-way bearing in the clutch. I really like engine braking, you know, especially on the hills. You don't have to use your brakes as much. However, in a case like this where the belt shreds, now a lot of those little pieces will get stuck in that clutch, wind right in there in that one-way bearing. I mean, you don't have to worry about that on this, so there's nothing there. It's clean, completely clean. Really, we could have just slapped a belt on this and it would have been fine. But you just never know, you know. Stuff can get behind this clutch and you'd never know it. All of a sudden you're running it and it jiggles out and it gets wound up in there and your new belt's not going to last as long. But yeah, this one just didn't happen to have anything there. Same thing, secondary. Everything looks good there. Another spot to check is up inside this, and guess what? Actually, there is some stuff up here. This is the exhaust side of the CVT duct, so it's going to push air out through here. So that's why it pushed that stuff up in there. This is your intake here. Most likely it's not going to reach there. That comes up into this cavity, but it always seems to get thrown up in here. So we'll take our camera with a flashlight and see if we see some more stuff. It does look like some more stuff further up in there. So we'll just come up here and scrape that stuff out of there. Yeah, look at that. I'm gonna actually take the shop vac and we'll get some of that stuff out of there. Oh, I feel it. Go ahead and take another peek in there. Much cleaner. Looks good. So you can see there was some stuff hiding up in that duct. Now, we didn't have to pull the clutches off to get that, but like I said, for the little bit more time it does take to pull those clutches off, you might as well. And while we got these here, we can blow all that clutch dust out. And the primary. Now on this primary, I'll just take some sandpaper. This is 220 grit. And I'll just sand it off. Circular motion. Just work my way around that clutch. We're just deglazing it and then also getting off that old rubber belt material. Flip it over. We'll do the same thing over here, as you can tell. As you can tell, there's definitely some rubber material on there too. Blow that off again. Make sure our spring, nothing's catching there. Seems to go in and out good. We'll close this up. Our weights are free. Rollers are free. Same thing there. Play in them's not too excessive. Everything's nice and free. You know, the marks on that clutch, I don't really like it too much. I've seen people run worse and it lasts. I'm going to say, I know this customer, I know where he drives, how much he drives. I would honestly just throw a belt in there and it should last quite a while. Down here, we got a groove. This is like when you first take off. It's definitely grooved there a little bit. Same thing on that side down there. Very common, you know, it's where you always take off and that's the first spot to wear it out. If you just feather your machine, idle it, it's going to wear that spot sooner. We got some dents and dings. I'm guessing some rocks or something got in there at one time and chewed it up a little bit, but it'll last. Secondary, same thing. I can see, you know, right there, there's a dent. And right there, rotate it. See a few more. I'll give this a quick sand. And we'll just clean that up. And it looks better than it did, other than the dents. Grab our primary again, just clean the sheaves up as well. And there we go. A lot of markings in there, but it'll work. Now I know some of you might be thinking, why would you not suggest buying a new clutch to that owner? Well, if they were, you know, out trail riding all the time, going hundreds of miles into the woods trail riding, I might suggest it. But these guys ride their property around here. They don't go too far. I am confident it'll last quite a long time like this. The way they drive, I would say years. But, you know, using your head, use low range. If you're going to run high range in some of the tight spots or in mud, it's going to chew up any belt, even with a brand new clutch. So I have a cheap belt in stock. I'm going to throw that on for them and we'll try her out. We'll take our secondary, get that in here, get it on the shaft. You can either put it in gear and rotate this, which, yeah, we'll do that. That'll lock that shaft in place and we can turn it and we'll get it in the correct position. I like to Loctite these, so we'll throw a little Loctite. Throw it back up into neutral. I like to clean off the tapers. If there's any rust, I'll sand it. If not, we'll just give it a good cleaning. This one looks pretty good, as you can see. I'm going to take my new drive belt. I wash these with warm soapy water and dry them first before I put them on a machine. We'll get that installed just like that. We'll take our primary and slide it on in. Get it in that taper. We'll take our primary clutch bolt, put that in. Now before I put this thing back together, I like to fire it up. There we go. You can see it's all moving because we're in neutral. Drop her out. Put it in gear. That secondary clutch stops. Give her a little throttle. She's wanting to move. Oop. Machine's a little cold. All looks well here, so we can go ahead and install our cover after we clean it out, of course. Now you gotta watch it on some of these because I've seen a lot of them when the belts break, or if they're starting to break, they'll come up and slap this as the first thing they slap, and they'll wear a hole right in here. I have a lot of these Polaris clutch covers with holes right here. Now you can seal them up, do whatever you want, or you can replace them, but you want to make sure it's sealed up. Otherwise, you're going to get water and all kinds of other stuff in there that you don't want in there. Now, before I put these clamps on, I want to make sure there wasn't a reason that they weren't tightened up. Sometimes the clamps, you know, won't tighten anymore. But these look fine. Yep. Working fine. Same thing. Somebody just forget to tighten it up. Not a big deal. I'll slide that boot over this duct and the clamps. The clutch cover back on. I know somebody's gonna holler because of this mud, but have you seen this machine? I'm not gonna clean it off. Clean the outside of it off just for that. I'll clean the inside where it counts. Make sure that's in place. Then we can go ahead and zip these on. That tightened. That one. Can install our floorboard now. Plastic push pins in first. I'll drop all these bolts in. On a one. Put this away. Slap this on. Then we'll go try it out. Do you want the choke? Do you not want the choke? Doesn't want the choke. You hear that? I'm firing it up. It sounds good if I'm holding the throttle just a little bit. Like, just a little bit. Not even enough to idle it up. If I let it go, it's dying immediately, which is telling me this throttle cable is misadjusted and it's shutting it off. This has what they call a Polaris electronic throttle control. So if it detects, say the cable breaks, the throttle cable breaks, it's going to kill the engine. So somebody might have messed with that and did it wrong. Now, they didn't mention anything with this, but I can't imagine anybody would want to leave it like that. It takes 2 seconds. I don't even have to open this up. I'm just going to show you what it does by opening it. So if we take a look in here, if I open this throttle up, you can see how it takes contact away from there. That needs to be adjusted with just the slightest amount of play so those contacts aren't touching. Now, it's not by much, but it is a little bit. So we got to actually, this is already, I think somebody messed with this recently. It seems like the shielding was already down. We're just going to open this up just a hair. you can see there's still play in this throttle before we even open that throttle cable. So it's not going to rev the engine anymore. We could tighten it that much more. We just want it enough so those contacts aren't making contact. So that's plenty. So if I start this up now, it's good. You can hear it running good. I should be able to push this in by hand enough. Yeah, just like that. Now let me show you, if I tighten this up, if I loosen this up, it's going to bring that closer, and it kills it. So I'm going to spread it apart, just like that. There we go. Now we're good. So we'll tighten this back up, throw the sheathing back on. We'll throw the cover on. Now we can give the old girl a run. Alright, let's go ahead, try her out. This side panel was missing. I never touched that. 2,100 miles on it, it says. The idle's down a little bit low on this, 980. We could bump that up a little bit. Not by this, but by the carburetor. We'll see once it gets warm. It's over 1,000. Maybe it's fine. Throw her in high, and we're going to break this belt in gently. We're not going to hammer on it because it's a brand new belt. Break her in a little bit. It got a little snow, so I had to try out the sleds. Alright. Now these 400s, they go pretty good. I mean, you might think 400's too small, but honestly, they go almost as good as the 500s. Maybe not quite as much, but they're pretty close. They're not that far off from a Sportsman 500. So, big thing with a brand new belt, you kind of want to vary the RPMs a little bit, and you don't want to heat it up too much by pound, really hitting the throttle for long periods of time. You just want to kind of ease it on and just kind of work it in there. Get it glazed over a little bit. Not glazed, but you know what I mean. Or maybe you don't, but basically, if you look at a brand new belt, you'll see like cords showing on it a little bit. They shouldn't be popping out, but sometimes you'll see them on it. And basically, when the first time you run it, it kind of just glazes those over with a nice layer of rubber, and then you're fine. So you're just trying to get that done. But we get this thing in all-wheel drive. It is some muddy, of course, snow, and ground's not froze yet. It's like it's not that cold out. Now it seems to be that when you're talking about running CVTs, high range, low range, the bigger the engine, usually the more you can lug it because it's got more power and it doesn't strain the belt as much. The smaller ones you really got to think about when you want to use low range. Like this stuff I wouldn't, but say we were crawling up one of these hills, just crawling, I would use low range rather than high range. It'll go up and high, but you're putting more stress on stuff. So like I said, we're just going to vary the throttle. I'm guessing a lot of these branches are going to be knocked over, but that's good. We'll get this thing ready for them just in time for hunting season. I haven't tried low range. I'm assuming it works, but we'll try that up here, I guess. So cruising at this speed, you're not going to be in that wear groove where I showed you on that clutch. It's going to be the putting around like this, or maybe just early engagement, probably just right there. And it's not going to be as smooth of a transition as it could be. So We'll throw her in low. We'll just try to climb this up. Now the biggest thing is not to lug it. I mean, you can go up stuff like this to break it in if you want. It's just don't lug the engine, because that's going to put more stress on that belt. So the higher the RPMs, the better for the CVT, because your all those ribs are going faster, which is cooling. It's creating a cooling effect, and it will cool the belt and the clutch system down quicker than say just sitting here high range, just put. Some nice deer tracks there. Yeah, I'm gonna get covered. Should have known. Big thing, so I've had a couple of belts that come apart on me very early because I was going max speed super early on the drive clutch system. You know, it was a Razor 800, my personal machine. I blew a belt because that machine would do like 60 miles an hour top speed, cruising down the road for miles and miles, and it came apart on me. Luckily, like, I heard it, and it drove back to my house. However, when I pulled the clutch cover off, the belt had flipped upside down. I don't even know how it's still driving. I limped it back, and it was just roads, but still, I limped it back as easy as I could, and it was fine. So that was a plus. Now, I put another belt on because we were going riding, and I didn't have time to break it in properly, so guess what I did? It was a Gates belt. I used them, Gates Severe Heavy Duty belt, used them in the past, no problems. Could have been a defective belt, or it could have been just improper break-in. I took that Razor 800, it was a 2014 Trail, and as soon as I put that belt on, went and floored it right to the right to the floor, 60 miles an hour, revving off the rev limiter, bouncing off the rev limiter, and I got to, I don't know, I didn't make it too far, and snap. I probably made it 5-6 miles, something like that, and it just came apart. That one just snapped. I don't think that one blew apart. Of course, brand new, so it's not brittle like the old ones. When they come apart, they come apart. Now the new ones usually will just snap. Sometimes they'll peel to pieces, but now unfortunately that one did not get me home. So I had to get that one towed. Something I don't even remember now, but so I will not go full throttle on a brand new belt now until it's got plenty of miles on. I don't care if you got a Polaris belt, a Gates belt, a cheap Chinese Amazon belt, or eBay belt. Take it easy on it, just for the first few miles at least. But if you can, you know, a good 10-15 miles of easing, it'll help the belt severely. Really will. Now I'm running up by the that fan's working. Pretty noisy fan, actually. Probably got some mud in it. So we get her in high. We'll just take off. Kind of, you know, varying it. I wasn't so much varying the throttle, but being in low range, I was up in the higher RPMs. I was cruising at like 5,000 RPMs. Didn't need to be in a low range, but you know, it's easier on the belt that way. And right now we're cruising at 4, so it's going to use a separate thing. And I'll vary the throttle a little bit here and there, but when I get to talking on here, I kind of maintain a steady throttle, so just the way it is. This machine does run really good, though. It does. My water was froze outdoors, so I could not pressure wash this. That's why I worked on it dirty. What I should have done is when they first dropped it off, I should have washed it off, but I didn't.
That was my fault. So now I had to deal with the consequences. At least we didn't have to get very far into the engine. It wasn't horrible. Full drive works good. This machine should be all set. I don't really need to drive it this far, but I do want to break in that belt just to say I put some miles on it, and you know, the owner of this doesn't have to worry about it as much. Super easy fix. I'm actually not even going to charge for this. I know I threw a belt in there, but it was a cheap belt. I still think it'll last. If they want to throw an OEM belt or better in it later on, they can. But it's got a cheap belt in it right now. Not going to charge, mainly because, you know, a bunch of good guys, and for one, they let me ride on their land. This is not it, but back there, some of that was. And, you know, they don't say anything. I actually just met them for the first time a couple weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago. But still. So, yeah. It's getting pretty white, pretty snowy out here. The way things are going, we might have a good snowmobiling season because, you know, it's early November and we're covered already. Usually we'll get some snow, but usually it doesn't stick around. It kind of disappears for a little bit, and then, you know, we'll get it back later on. But I don't know if it shows any signs of disappearing. supposed to get some more snow here coming up, so we'll see. This, you know, I didn't really look over the machine because they said they just had this serviced by somebody else down where they live. So they said nothing should be wrong. I mean, I could have gave it a once over, but it seems fine other than that throttle, you know, issue. But that's not a big deal. Could have been the owners trying to adjust it to get the right RPMs, if, you know, not knowing, but they watched the videos, so now they'll know if that's something they did, or maybe it's been like that. I don't know. I know I didn't touch the throttle, so it was like that while they were driving it. I do know that. Oh, right, yeah. She's goes pretty good. I would usually do a speed run, but we're gonna slowly not breathe on it. Oh, we are in all-wheel drive. You can run these in all-wheel drive, but I like to take them out when I'm on the roads like this. Now you can break your belt in however you want. I've seen some people not break them in at all and head right out, and they get, you know, thousands of miles on them. But I just had bad experience with my Razor, so I break them in gentle from now on. Do want to vary the speed, but you know, gently. Doing 30. So the CVT is going to push it in the primary, and then it's going to, well, it pulls it out, I guess, to the top of the primary, and it pushes it in to the secondary the faster you go. Big thing is make sure they're clean no matter what. Just clean everything out. See, even varying the throttle just a little bit, we're only going from like 5,000 to 55. Just doing that, it's really not going to change that belt position much. You almost slow right down. Now that clutch is all the way out because you give it time to get back onto it. The first time I ride them, the first time I run a belt, you know, I like to start it off easy, and then give it a good warming up, because that's when it's gonna glaze over the best, when you hammer on it. So I'm not gonna hold it full throttle for long, but we'll give it a good little pull just so it heats up in there and kind of seats in. You know, for the looks of the machine, it's just dirty. It's really not that bad a shape. It just looked kind of rough to me, but I think it's just dirty. It goes pretty good though, and it runs really good. Hearing a lot of rattles, but it could be stuff in their trunk, or either one. It's got a rear trunk, and then it's got this cargo area. That is nice on these year Sportsmans. I think they started that in 05 is when they started this cargo area. And then when they went to the XP Sportsman, you didn't get a cargo area. You got a removable rack that you could put different lock and ride systems on. You could get a cargo spot, a cargo rack, but you got to pay extra for it. So when I bought my, see, no engine braking. You can get on the throttle and help it out, but no engine braking on this unit. Better because you got less stuff to brake, basically, but just less of a feature. You don't have that engine braking. I personally like it on my machines. Yeah, it was pretty good. We're just, like I said, wanted to get onto her a little bit more the further into the ride. We're not putting a ton of stress on the system because of the snow, so we're actually doing some spinning, and that's gonna put less stress on it because we're not getting as much traction. Still got this thing in two-wheel drive. I don't know if I'm going to make it up this hill or not. The good thing with the Sportsmans is they got some weight behind them. I mean, it's a flaw in some ways. Other ways, it's very helpful. For one, traction. Traction when you're not bottomed out. Now, the weight will hurt you in a mud hole that you're bottomed out, or in snow that you're bottomed out. But the snow's not very deep right now, so we don't have to worry about that. Oh, there's a deer. Hunting season's tomorrow. That's a doe, though. Alright, well, the last stretch. Still not going to punch it. I'll get it up there, but slowly. Should be enough to heat it up, and I think we're good to go. Hoping to get some snowmobile content out for you guys. I want to go snowmobiling myself here. Anyways, seems to go pretty good. Nothing wrong with that. Love the easy jobs. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'll catch you on the next one.